Business Live today.
Hello everyone, my name is Daryl Kwale. Let's get straight to our stories. And chief executives of state-owned institutions could be prosecuted for wastage of funds. That's a warning coming from Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to the heads of these institutions. Now, the state is said to have lost millions of Ghana cedis through the inactions of some of these heads of institutions. But speaking at the signing performance contract with chief executives of state-owned institutions, the vice president said the old ways of doing things must change.
State-owned enterprises are so critical to this economy. They are really critical. The mismanagement of one state-owned enterprise can literally collapse this economy. It can. You have enterprises like Cocoa Board or GMPC or TOR. I mean, these are major enterprises and with major financial implications for this economy. And if we don't take the performance of the state-owned enterprises seriously, it means we are not taking the performance of the economy seriously, because you are really at the very heart of the economy. For the longest time, state-owned enterprises in terms of economic management have almost been seen as being on the periphery rather than being at the center of the economy. And so we only hear in passing that, oh, this happened in this enterprise, and this happened, and economic managers don't have their fingers on the pulse of what is happening. The President, His Excellency the President, is also going to hold, along with the economic management team, a half-yearly meeting with the state-owned enterprises so that we can review what is going on half-yearly. We'll look at the financial reports, we'll look at the projects, the activities that are taking place, and the issues that you are facing. Because sometimes when we talk that regularly, we can solve problems and we can coordinate activities much better. And the economic management team and the president will have a very much hands-on approach. Our fingers will be on the pulse, and we will all work together as one team to deliver the transformation of Ghana.
This year's Mining and Energy Conference is focusing on ways to position Ghana as the best mining and investment country in Africa. The event, organized by the Ghana Chamber of Mines, is an annual gathering of various stakeholders and policymakers in the mining industry. In an interview with Joy Business, Chief Executive of the Ghana Chamber of Mines, Suleiman Akone, noted Ghana is losing its competitiveness in mining.
Ghana's mining industry has been facing challenges with the intrusion of illegal activities, leading to the destruction of several water bodies and forest vegetation. This year's Mining and Energy Summit will seek to deal with all issues relating to the mining industry, as well as the contribution of the energy sector to its growth. In an interview with the Chief Executive of the Ghana Chamber of Mines, Suleiman Akone, Ghana as a country is losing its competitiveness as a mining hub, and this is the time to take action.
We should not lose sight of the fact that we are in a competitive environment, vis-a-vis, what happens in other jurisdictions within West Africa, talking about like Côte d'Ivoire, Burkina Faso, and so on and so forth. So it's about time we actually took a back step and then identify and reappraise our competitiveness compared to our competitors within the sub-region. From what we see and the numbers we get to identify, it's quite clear that slowly Ghana is beginning to lose its competitiveness, and it's about time we actually had a recalibration.
What makes you think so?
Well, you look at the numbers in terms of investments flowing into Ghana compared to those practically going to La Côte d'Ivoire.
You mean in the mining sector? In
the mining sector, going to La Côte d'Ivoire, going to Burkina Faso, and even Mali. And again, if you attend international conferences, you see the strength of these companies even in their posturing, regarding enticing investors to come into their country to come and invest in all of that. So I think that it's about time we actually, did a kind of a reappraisal of our competitiveness and reposition ourselves, because we are the leader. We have always said that we are the leader of mining, in the sub-region, but we can't take that for granted.
He also highlighted some expectations from the two-day conference.
Because it opens up the space for deep and deliberate discussions regarding how competitive we are across the value chain. So our expectation is that this summit should help us to recalibrate our position.
This links me to my next question. Who are the target audience are we?
I think the target audience is quite varied. Of course, you would expect that mining professionals should show interest, even civil society as well, because civil society organizations who have a keen interest in the mining industry would be interested in the discussions.
The Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, John Peter Mewu, is expected to open the conference in Accra on Wednesday.
The Ministry of Science and Technology and the local government ministry are partnering the World Bank through a $1.5 million funding package to ensure that the city of Accra is made viable for businesses and safe from the effects of floods. At a national report launch and dissemination workshop in Accra, the Greater Accra Regional Minister, Ishmael Ashite, was hopeful the program will go a long way to make Accra the main hub for business in Africa.
The launch of the program saw government stakeholders and officials from the World Bank deliberate on the best ways of creating an enabling environment for businesses to thrive in Accra. Country Director of the World Bank, Henry Kerali, says the World Bank will offer the government $1.5 million to support government's quest to strengthen the urban areas of Accra. He spoke to Joy Business.
We have, over the next 3 years, about $1.2 billion that the World Bank will be making available to the government of Ghana. This will be in various areas of support, including support directly to the budget of the government of Ghana, but also we will be making investments in improving inner city areas and Zongo areas. We're hoping to have a project that will address the challenges of poor drainage, the challenges of poor housing, and the challenges of poor infrastructure, particularly in the inner cities and in Zongo areas. There have been floods in other parts of the country, maybe less densely populated than Accra, but nevertheless, they will have had impact as well. And then project forward with climate change, we are going to have more of these floods happening unless we do something about it. So rather than, and on top of that, we have the health costs. We have cholera outbreaks, which have not been included in these cost estimates. So if you project forward and multiply this 3 or 4 times, then quite easily you exceed $1 billion of costs directly to the people in not only Greater Accra area, but also throughout Ghana.
Do you consider Greater Accra region as not just the economic base of Ghana, but of course the mirror of our economic viability?
Greater Accra definitely has a significant contribution to the economy of Ghana as a whole. But our focus here is not necessarily on the economy, but on the people. What is the impact of such things as floods on the livelihoods of the people?
Minister for Works and Housing, Samuel Atachia, on his part, said government was engaged in the private sector on best ways to improve the business environment in the capital. The program also saw government and the World Bank outdoor reports on flood and sanitation management called the City Strength Resilient Cities Report.
Now, the South African province of Gauteng, as part of its Africa strategy, is seeking closer economic ties with businesses in the Greater Accra region. Premier of the Gauteng province, David Makura, who is in the country for 2 days, has been discussing with the Greater Accra minister how they can collaborate for mutual benefit. There's more in this report. A business delegation from Gauteng province, South Africa, is in the country to explore business opportunities. Gauteng, whose capital is Johannesburg, would have been the 5th biggest economy in Africa if it were a country. It's a financial hub of South Africa with global companies and diverse economic sectors. It is seeking to inject new capital and expand production activities. Premier of the province, David Makura, who spoke with Joy Business after a business-to-business seminar organized by the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, stressed the importance of intra-Africa trade, especially at city level.
So the business delegation we are bringing today was preceded by another business delegation that came here in January. So in January, we sent a big delegation of business people. Some of them have since been here twice because they saw the business opportunities that are here in Ghana. But last week, the High Commissioner, together with the Ghana Investment Promotion Center also brought a business delegation into South Africa. The CEO of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center was just reporting back. So we want to see that mutually beneficial flow of investment, of business activity between Ghana and South Africa, but especially between the businesses here in Greater Accra and Gauteng province.
Welcoming the South Africa delegation at the seminar, CEO of the GIPC, Yofi Grant, said efforts were underway to make Ghana the investment hub in the ECOWAS sub-region.
Ghana is positioning itself as the entry point and the beachhead in West Africa. And this government's aim, one of its biggest aims, is to position Ghana as the business hub, the financial hub, the tourism hub of West Africa. But it's also looking to set Ghana as a production base for West Africa through its many policies like the One District, One Factory. And indeed, we see a lot of examples that are happening in South Africa. Additionally, as an investment promotion agency, we're also reforming, very much like they have done, to set their economies on fire and get them moving. And so we are going to do a lot of exciting things that are going to make Ghana very attractive as a business place.
Meanwhile, South Africa's High Commissioner to Ghana, Lulu Nwane, applauded the efforts made so far by both countries to deepen economic ties.
It is also an unequivocal statement that indeed our countries are committed to building sustainable partnerships. It is also underscoring our resolve to open our markets more, to alter the reality of our trade and investment volumes.
The business-to-business seminar was under the theme Investment and Business Partnership, the vehicle for intra-Africa integration and impactful development. Well, that seminar followed a 7-day trade mission embarked upon by government agencies and Ghanaian businesses to South Africa, which ended with a call for an increase in intra-Africa trade. CEO of the GIPC, Yofi Grant, who is making this call, believes it is crucial in building stronger markets on the continent. Here's more on the just concluded trade mission. The trade mission, organized by the Ghana South Africa Business Chamber in partnership with the Ghana Investment Promotion Center and the South Africa High Commission in Ghana, was to enable Ghanaian businesses explore opportunities in South Africa and to showcase investment opportunities to potential South African investors. The mission took the delegates to 3 provinces, namely Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal and Western Cape. Speaking to Joy Business on one of the tours, CEO of GIPC, Yofi Grant, bemoaned the low level of trade among African countries.
Currently, intra-Africa trade is about 12%, which is woefully inadequate. In Europe, intra-European trade is about 65%. And so the European market stands to be stronger because it's a market that works together. The African markets are weak because we are not working together. We probably export more to outside the continent than we export to the continent. And that is something that we should also try and fix. And speaking or hearing the governors of both Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal speak, that is an issue that for them it's imperative that they actually go out there to see how best they can work to increase intra-Africa trade.
Members of the Ghanaian delegation also visited some business locations and took part in business-to-business seminars organized at each province. Some of them shared the experiences with Joy Business.
My name is Philip Obordo for Bullion Investment Group. We are pretty much an investment hub, and we are into a few sectors as well: agriculture, healthcare, hospitality, and real estates. And our experience here in South Africa has definitely been great. We've had the chance to meet some key delegates and companies, not just from South Africa but across Africa, and we're all looking to work together to build to have a developmental attitude and build on something. So it's been very great.
My name is Paul Kofi from Twa House Company Limited. The experience has been awesome. I mean, from Johannesburg to Durban to finally to Cape Town. I've had the opportunity to meet potential investors partners, distributors, and a few others. Now, key for me is this intra-African trade, how people are really warming up to our idea of affordable housing. It's been an awesome experience.
President of the Ghana South Africa Business Chamber, Ashley Risk, later expressed satisfaction with the outcome of this year's trade mission.
The feedback that we've had, the interaction that we've been able to have, the support that we've had from the different provincial governments in organising the tour and getting the right sort of people to meet our delegates has been very good. So yeah, I think the feedback's been very positive. People are looking for more of these kind of trade missions in the future, possibly to be even a bit more sort of trade specific. And so we're definitely going to be looking at organising possibly even 3 or 4 of these trade missions every year.
This is the second mission embarked upon by the Ghana South Africa Business Chamber since its inception. In other business news tonight, Minister of Trade and Industry Alan Kyerematen has challenged private sector businesses to critically examine the impacts of new government reforms aiming to improve the business environment of the country and give feedback. This, according to him, will help the ministry monitor the performance of all sectors of the economy and make amends where necessary. He's called for support from the sector to help in making the country's business environment friendly. In an interview after launching the business regulatory strategy, which seeks to improve Ghana's ranking on the Ease of Doing Business report.
Particular exercise does not exhaust all the interventions of government in supporting the private sector. And so there are specific interventions in respect of how we are helping the private sector to be able to deal with unfair trade practices, dumping of goods from other countries. You've talked about the textiles. We have a task force that has been working on this, and we've been meeting regularly with both the importers, the manufacturers, and other stakeholders to deal specifically with that problem. So we should not mix everything that government is doing with this exercise, which is intended to look at the policies and the regulations for doing business.
Trades at the port, I mean, the freight forwarders have raised the concern that 2 agencies are operating the National Single Window project, and it gives them some hurdle when they are going to clear their goods. How are you addressing that? It's part of doing business in Ghana.
Yes, I think you heard from the presentation today on trade facilitation that there are certain interventions, initiatives that are already underway to try and deal with some of those challenges, whether it is clearing goods through the ports or trading across borders. You'll recall that this is one of the reform areas that we've already launched. And so we are now going to expect the private sector to start auditing what the departments and agencies, the reforms that they've undertaken, to confirm whether the reforms are actually working or not. But we cannot immediately start making judgments about whether the reforms have been effective or not. So let's give them a chance. At least they've been able to identify specific areas where the reforms would occur. It is for the private sector to see whether these reforms are providing the necessary incentives and the level playing field for them.
And you're watching Business Live. We are taking a short break. We'll be right back with our interview of the day. Welcome back. Now, Chief Executive of the State Enterprises Commission, Asama Boateng, says he would play a leading role in ensuring that various state institutions live up to expectation. He was speaking at the signing of a performance contract with chief executives of state-owned institutions in Accra. That's our interview of the day.
Interview of the day.
I'm not going to leave them on their own and just struggle. Some of them need some help. in corporate governance structure to set up properly their financial management, operational IT, and those are areas we need to do so that they have the capacity to handle state enterprises. Government has invested money in them, VRA, GCJ, and if they are not giving us a return on investment, then it must be a worry. Areas that private sector companies are making money, why is it that the state-owned enterprise with such a muscle, huge muscle, cannot make it? So it tells you there's some difficulty, challenges, and that's what we say. It's not business as usual. We are going to be there for them to clear the hurdles for them. Some of them are bureaucratic. Some of them sometimes a memo has been sitting somewhere and not moved to the cabinet table. And my job is to make sure that these bottlenecks are removed. I can monitor if they're having difficulty before the event. I can say, watch here. I can see your sales are going down. There's something going on. What's going on? And that's kind of dialogue.
I mean, performance contracts are meant to be enforced to the letter and also dealt to those who fail to comply with it. Could it lead to some of these SOE chief executives being asked to step aside if they fail to live up to this expectation or this contract that they've signed?
Well, if you look at the law that established the state-owned enterprises, that's the PNDC Law 170, which is going to be amended to strengthen anyway. If you look at the law, the power resides there. Because, of course, if you sign a performance contract, which are being monitored and evaluated, and they're not adhering to them, you're not meeting the targets you agreed to do, and you are not reporting any challenges along the way, then what's going on? Then are you capable of handling this big organization?
Interview of the day.
And that's Business Live tonight. My name is Daryl Carr. Thanks for making a date. There's more news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. Have a good evening.